Hey gaming fans, so today's another Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile, and this one I decided to do another common charity deck, common charity format deck I should say. This is, I've done a few of these decks already. This is where you only use common cards in your deck. We're still waiting to see if Konami makes this official for the TCG, but it's still fun to come up with some deck ideas. Anyways, the next deck that I have in line is Lightsworns. I was just kind of going through a lot of my cards and I realized that pretty much most of them have been reprinted as commons. So let's get to the deck. So we have 2 Raikou. I figure, you know, since we don't know much about this format yet, we don't know how powerful it would be, and I'm sure a lot of people are just going to play mostly fun decks. So I think Raikou kind of fits in here. I know if you play a modern kind of Lightsworn deck, I don't think people really even use Raikou, or maybe even just play 1. But I figure in this, why not? Let's go to 2. And of course we'll have the 3 Lumina, probably one of the more, you know, exciting monsters in the deck. Allows you to pitch a card to special summon a Lightsworn, level 4 Lightsworn from your graveyard to the field. So really good card, and helps mill 3 cards every turn, which is, you know, what you want to do in Lightsworn. Then I put in 1 Arcus Lightsworn Druid. So this is the one that protects all your Lightsworns from being targeted. Now, of course, it does backfire against you, because you have to remember that even you can't target your own Lightsworn card, so you have to be careful. But still a good card, you know, especially if you want to throw it down before you go for the win. Then I put 1 Aaron Lightsworn Monk. Again, we don't know this format, so I just threw in, like, I tried to get a good variety of Lightsworns, especially when they have the ability to mill 3 cards. And, you know, this is kind of fun that if they do try to set something, you can just, you know, shuffle it into the deck. I have 1 Raiden, mainly because I could only find 1 common version of it in my collection anyways. And the second thing is, I'm not really going for any real synchro plays, and I'll kind of explain that when I go through the extra deck. But he is a tuner, he's a level 4 tuner, and but he does have the effect of sending 2 cards from the deck to the graveyard, and if any Lightsworn monsters are sent there to the graveyard, this card gains 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn, which is good, because I like the fact that you can actually mill 2 cards the moment he hits the field. And then during the end phase, he also sends another 2 cards. So he's really good in that. And he's got the 1700 attack. Plus he is a tuner, so there is the possibility of going into a synchro. Then I put into Lila. I'm assuming this, you know, people are going to play a little bit more back row in this type of format, because, you know, it's not the same as, you know, standard format or modern format. But anyways, yeah, Lila is your spell and trap destruction. 1700 body, and she mills 3 cards, so why not? I put in 1 Jane. Originally I had 2, but I think I replaced it with the 1 Arcus. But you could also play more. I mean, he's just your stronger monster. When he attacks, he gains an extra 300 attack, but he only mills 2 cards, so you have to, you know, weigh the consequences of that. And then 1 Gareth. I always like to play at least 1 Gareth. He's a nice to have card, especially with Lumina. You get to, you know, pitch him into the graveyard with Lumina's effect, and then special summon him. And then when you mill cards, if you mill cards for Lightsworn, you get to mill 2 more cards, and then if any of them are Lightsworns, you get to draw cards. So that's really cool. Then I put 2 of the Felis Lightsworn Archer. Again, this is a tuner, but still, it is a decent, you know, defense and stuff. Problem with this one is, much like Wolf, you can't normal summon it or set, so it has to be milled. But it must be special summoned by a card effect, and if this card is sent from your deck to the graveyard by a monster effect, you can special summon it. So I mean, it is a way to get out through the Lightsworn milling effect, and it just gives you an extra body on the field, and the possibility if you want to do any kind of synchro summoning. And I put in 2 Wolves. You know, again, these cards you can't normal summon, so they could end up becoming bricks in your hand, so you gotta be careful, but milling them onto the field is really good, you know, 2100 attack. And of course, the boss monster, we play 3 Judgment Dragon, I mean, because we want to, you know, utilize this card as best as possible, which is why I went with a huge mixture of Lightsworn to get this guy out as quickly as possible And of course he blows up the whole field and then attacks for 3,000. So, and if you can summon 2 or 3 of these things in one turn, you pretty much end the duel. 3 Honest, they're commons as well, so why not throw them in there? You know, Honest is good. You can pretty much attack over any monster with Honest in your hand, so really cool. And it could be defensive. If your opponent tries to attack into one of your Lightsworns, you can just drop Honest and stop their attack. Then we have 2 Superius. These things are fun. So basically, you want to get them into the graveyard as fast as possible. They're 0 attack beasts that do nothing on the field. I mean, they got 1800 defense. But what's great about these guys is if they're in your graveyard, you can banish it and then destroy 1 card on the field. So really good. I mean, versatile. You can just mill it with your Lightsworn effects and just destroy whatever card on the field you want. Okay, so now we're going into spells. So we got 3 of the Charge of the Light Brigades. Definitely what makes the deck work. You know, you're probably going to mill 3 cards and then go and grab that Lumina to try and, you know, special summon something from the graveyard like a Gareth. And hopefully when you mill one of your Felis or Wolves. So really good card. Solar Recharge. This one is actually, I think, a super rare or something, but, you know, it is printed as common, so if I had another common version of this card, I would have thrown it in here. But, I mean, it looks like a common. It's, I think that's from the structure deck or something, or it was from somewhere. But anyways, yeah, Solar Recharge is a common, so you can use it. Discard a Lightsworn, draw 2 cards. Really good card, obviously, you get to your advantage. Foolish Burial, you want to chuck whatever you want. You can chuck your Pero in there if you need it. If you need that extra Lightsworn for Judgment Dragon, you could throw Wolf in the graveyard, special summon him. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with Felis because he has to be special. He has to be sent via monster effect, so you can't use that one. But you know what I mean. You can throw whatever you need, and Lumina can get it back. Definitely a must play in every Lightsworn build that I've ever built, anyways. I threw in 1 Pot of Avarice. I mean, you could play more, or you could play none. It's just a good way to draw 2 cards, just to cycle some of them back. You know, once you get enough materials in there for your Judgment Dragons, or if all your Judgment Dragons get milled, you can at least shuffle them back in. Monster Reborn. Again, why not? I mean, you can grab your opponent's monsters if you want. You can grab your own monsters if your Judgment Dragon dies. We do play 3 Monster Reincarnation. Again, this is much like your Pot of Avarice, where you get to just shuffle back or grab your milled cards that you didn't want milled, like Judgment Dragon or whatever, just to, you know, get yourself further in the game. Then we got Lightsworn Judgment. This is a fun card. I like this one. You place a card on top of your deck. So place this card on top of your deck. So when you activate it, it goes on top of your deck. And then if this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard by a Lightsworn monster's effect, you can grab one Judgment Dragon from your deck to your hand. So really it just searches out Judgment Dragon. So you would set it and then get your Lightsworn guy ready to start milling, and then you would activate this when just before he starts milling a card. Otherwise you'd have to just redraw it. And then we got 3, I just threw in 3 counter traps. You can throw in whatever you want there. Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warnings, you know, all the Solemn cards, whatever you want. You can even throw in some defensive traps. Like I said, I don't know where this format's going to go. I don't know how competitive it's going to be. You know, this could be like a Mirror Force or something. Or maybe just more spell cards. Now here's the challenge of this format that I've noticed, is that I really had slim pickings when it came to building an extra deck. That's why I was saying with the tuners, I couldn't find, I mean, I don't know if this is a problem with most people. I went through a lot of my my Xyz monsters, my Synchros, even my Link monsters. Most of them are, I would say, rare to super rare to something, you know, foily. There wasn't many commons, so these were the ones I could find. I mean, that could actually be summoned from this deck. So you can actually do like the Red Dragon Archfiend. He's like a level 8 Synchro. You could possibly get out Leo. I mean, it would be a stretch, but you could pull him off. You know, and then there's just like basic ones like this guy. I remember using this when Xyz first came out. He just, you know, 2 level 3 monsters, and then he can get pretty big. Or he can do some damage, I should say. This guy, he's just a 2600 beat stick, so 2 level 4s, just in case you need to get over something. And I just found this one, like a link monster that can actually work, but I would say it was pretty slim pickings, so I don't know if anybody else has this issue. I don't know if there was any set that printed a lot of common synchro monsters or whatnot, but most of them seem to be rare and above. But anyways, yeah, this was kind of fun putting this one together. I always think Lightsworns always are pretty powerful in almost every format that they're in. I mean, obviously in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! They might not be as powerful as they once were, but I still think they have a pretty good shot at surprising your opponent and being able to just throw a ton of monsters on the field and just dominate the field with Judgment Dragon. Anyways, yeah, this was my common charity deck. Let me know what you think. Throw some comments down below. I always like to hear it. What would you throw in? What would you throw out? And let me know what you think about the extra deck, because your extra deck has to be common as well. You can't have secret rares and super rares and rares, just even rare foil printed rares. So let me know what you think. Anyways, hope you like the deck. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.